non-voter, please feel free to come on in. Otherwise, voters have to check in. Thank you. I have a couple housekeeping items. And first, thank you all for being here. This is beautiful. Western Hills Access Television, Brooks Morton here is reporting. But Greenwood is looking for a representative to join and represent Greenwood to join this group and to help film all the Greenwood activities and get them live streamed. So if anyone's interested in that, let one of us know or talk to Brooks and we'll appreciate that. Next item, there's plenty of food over there, so please go help yourself. And Al Lake is asked that we ask if anyone knows of any unmarked veterans' graves in town to let him know so we can make sure we get them honored for Memorial Day. Check in. If you're a registered voter, you should have a green voter card. We'll check in. And lastly, two more things. LD1 tax cap. A lot of you have noticed it's not in our warrant this year. The state repealed that law, but the budget committee and selectmen worked hard to make sure that we did meet LD1 tax cap. We still use the same formula we had in the past, so the budget proposed today meets that tax cap. And lastly, all of our love and hugs to Dino. Okay? All right. That's all for that. Thank you. Okay. We open this annual town meeting, May 17th, 2025. Okay. We're going to have Amy Chapman, our chair, has a few things she'd like to read and speak to. Thank you.
It's great to see so many people here. We're going to be taking suggestions about what we can put on the warrant next year to get everybody out. You all have the town report in front of you, but Gilbert Dunham, to whom we dedicated this year's town report, was a good friend of mine, so I would like to read that. And then I would like to read something from Chris Dunham's Facebook page, Greenwood as It Was, about Greenwood's first town meeting. The 2024-25 Town of Greenwood Annual Report is dedicated in memory of Gilbert Dunham. Gilbert was kind, wise, funny, and philosophical. He was a master of self-deprecating humor, and his approachable, everyman persona made him a friend to all. Somehow he acquired the wisdom of an old soul and the insightfulness of an erudite scholar without ever leaving his hometown. A lifelong resident of Greenwood, Gilbert spent his entire life nearly within sight of the place he was born. He worked at Penley's Mill, a few miles from home, for more than 40 years. He married Barbara Sear 2 weeks after her high school graduation, and they were married for nearly 62 years. One of the most memorable things he ever told me during one of our many evenings together behind the counter at Bob's Corner Store was, I realized early on that I could either decide what I wanted to do for work and go where I had to live to do it, or decide where I wanted to live and figure out what I could do for work there. Once Gilbert made his decision, he set about to balance the needs of his growing family with those of his community. His full-time job was filing saws at Penley's, and in addition to his part-time work at Bob's, he shoveled camp roofs in the winter, mowed lawns in the summer, and filed hand saws and circular saw blades in his basement shop year-round, all to make the best possible life for his family. In gratitude to his hometown, and with a desire to see it remain the kind of community where people choose to stay, Gilbert became a tireless volunteer. He served on the school board and the fire department, was a member of the Locks Mills Union Church and the Greenwood Historical Society, and was always quick to answer the call whenever someone in town needed help. I don't believe there was ever a moment when Gilbert regretted his chance to stay in Greenwood, and our community has been far richer because he chose to make his living and his life here. In the words of one lifelong friend, upon hearing of his passing last May, all of Greenwood will feel this loss. Thanks for those words, Lynn. One of the best things Gilbert Left behind in Greenwood was his son Chris, and I don't know if you know Chris, but he runs the Greenwood As It Was Facebook page, and if you have any interest in Greenwood, you should be a member. This morning he published this about Greenwood's first town meeting. Greenwood's first town meeting was held on Saturday, March 23rd, 1816 at 11 o'clock in the forenoon at the newly incorporated town's only schoolhouse on Patch Mountain near the cemetery. Noah Toby was chosen moderator and Paul Wentworth town clerk. Some of the offices filled at that first meeting, selectman and assessor, treasurer, collector, and constable, are familiar, but others require explanation. 9 men, one from each of the early neighborhoods, were chosen surveyors of highways. They were charged with building roads in their districts and keeping them in good repair. The surveyors would give to each male resident upwards of 16 years of age notice of the road tax he owed. Each then had the option of paying the tax or working it off on the road, either himself or by substitute. Those who chose to work might be asked to bring tools or a cart and team. The relevant statute gave surveyors full power and authority to cut down, lop off, dig up, and remove all sorts of trees, bushes, stones, fences, rails, gates, bars, enclosures, or other matter or thing that shall in any way straiten, hurt, hinder, or incommode the highway or town way, and to dig up any materials needed in any land not planted or enclosed. Frederick Coburn and Isaac Flint were chosen surveyors of lumber. The statute said this about the duties of that office. All boards, plank, timber, or slit work offered for sale shall, previous thereto, be surveyed and also measured by one of the said surveyors, where he shall have any doubt of the measure, having due consideration for drying and shrinking, who shall also mark anew all such to the just contents thereof, making reasonable allowance for rots, knots, and splits. There were similar requirements for shingles, clapboards, and staves. Greenwood had in 1816 2 sawmills on the Sanborn River and at the outlet of Hicks Pond. 3 surveyors would be elected in 1820 after Samuel B. Locke built his mill on Alder River. William Yates, Amos Young, William Noyes were each given 3 titles: fence viewer, field driver, and hog reeve. All 3 jobs involved keeping livestock where it belonged. The fence viewer was called in to settle disputes between neighbors over the placement and condition of their fences. The field driver was authorized to take up and impound any swine, unyoked or unringed, horses unfettered, sheep not under the care of a shepherd, going at large on the common or ways in any town or district without any keeper. The hog reeve, later called the hog constable, could impound only swine. It was a custom thought humorous to give this last job to men newly wed. In 1820, 3 of the town's 4 hog reeves, Francis Cordwell, John Roberts, and Christopher Bryant Jr., had married in the previous year, and the 4th, Asa Packard, had married in 1817. The tithing men chosen in 1816 were Eleazar Cole, Jonas Stevens, and the appropriately named Hate Evil Hall. Their duties were many. They were charged with inspecting licensed houses, i.e. drinking establishments, particularly on the Sabbath, with informing a justice of the peace or the court in Paris of all idle and disorderly persons, profane swearers, and the like offenders, to the end that they may be punished, and with enforcing good behavior on the Lord's day. Among the activities prohibited that day were drinking or serving alcohol, performing physical labor, and traveling beyond necessity. One could not be present at any concert of music, dancing, or any public diversion, show, or entertainment, nor use any sport, game, play, or recreation on said day without risking a fine. Every able person was obliged to attend worship services, and no one was permitted to behave rudely or indecently, or to willfully interrupt or disturb a service. Tithing men would be mentioned in Maine statutes until 1883, but after statehood their duties devolved on constables and other officers. Greenwood last elected tithing men in 1830. So, hopefully this meeting will stay orderly and we won't need tithing men to report anybody for profanity.
Okay, looks like our line is going down, right? Okay, next item is to Pledge of Allegiance.
Indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thanks, everyone. Okay, Article 1, elect the moderator by written ballot to decide at said meeting. Are there any nominations for moderator? We have a nomination for Vern Maxfield. Any other nominations? Is there a second for Vern Maxfield?
I'll second that.
Oh, boy, Vern, you're popular. Okay, so we need 3 written ballots. Would you like to have it draw? How about you call it? Just like Vern's. Vern, we have 4 ballots here, so please come forward.
It'll
Okay,
be
Vern
on
Maxfield, moderator's
YouTube,
oath.
Western Hills Access
You
Television.
swear that you support the Constitution of the United States and of this state so long as you shall be a citizen thereof. And you swear that you'll discharge all the duties incumbent upon you as moderator of this meeting and election according to the Constitution and the laws of the state.
Good morning, everybody. Is there something special on the warrant this morning? It's wonderful to see such a good crowd. Thank you for being here. I wonder if I should appoint some tither men this morning, in case we need them. I hadn't heard that before. That's good. Well, anyway. Just want to recognize any legislators or special guests that might be here this morning. That's what we usually do. Are there any legislators here that sometimes join us? No? Okay, thank you. Also, I need to let you know that non-residents, either citizens or staff, need to have a 2/3 vote of those present in order to speak this morning. Otherwise, it's just a listening process, but if you do want to speak, we can ask the voters if they want to vote to approve you to speak. I would like to have your approval to use of the main moderator's manual as our guide to the meeting, and being no objection, we will proceed in that way. It's just a guidebook put out by the Maine Municipal Association that gives you guide limits for town meetings. And I will not accept a negative motion or pass over the article motion. And ordinances may not be amended on the floor today. That is because they were noticed publicly, and anybody that's not here has the right to believe that our ordinance as presented will be voted on as presented. And that's the reason for that. And it would be helpful when you address the meeting if you would state your name. And everyone will have a chance to speak, but I will not recognize repeat speakers until all first-time speakers have had their opportunity to address those attending. And with that, I will read the next article. Article 2, to elect a selectman, assessor, and overseer of 4 by written ballot for a 3-year term starting July 1st, 2025. I have a nomination.
Nominated.
Yep. Any other nominations? Not seeing any. Do I have a motion that nominations cease?
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion that nominations have ceased. All those in favor of ending nominations, please indicate by raising your green card. Those opposed? We have ended the nomination process, and I can ask you to bring in your ballots unless Norman would like to take you. Is it not? Okay. Is that any better? Yeah. Okay.
I would like to just thank everyone here who has given me their trust and their confidence for being on the board for 6 years. I do think that we have a very good team on the board, and with your continued trust and confidence, I would like to serve another 3 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Norman. I guess at this point, those who would like to bring in their ballot with their choice for selectmen can do so. Ballot box is open. Okay, if all voted who wish to vote, I will declare the ballot box closed very shortly here. I declare the ballot box closed and ask the clerk to count the ballots. Okay, the results of your vote, out of 45 ballots cast, Norman Milliard received 45 ballots. I guess you've done a great job.
Thank you.
Article 3, shall the town vote to accept the following stipend to the Board of Selectmen for the coming year? Selectman, assessor, and overseer of the poor, $175 per month for each selectman. Could I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Have a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve $175 per month for each selectman. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none then, I'd ask you to vote. All those in favor of Article 3 is read and presented, please indicate. Thank you. Those opposed? Article 3 is approved as presented. Bob?
Moderator, I would like to make a motion to move Article 21 up ahead of Article 4 on the warrant.
Okay, we have a motion to move Article 21 up to this time before Article 4 for discussion. Could I have a second on that motion? Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Any question or discussion on that motion? Okay, the motion is to move Article 21 up to be voted on next in the agenda. All those in favor of doing that, please indicate by raising your green card. Thank you. Those opposed? Thank you. You have approved moving to Article 21. And Article 21 says, shall the town vote to enact the Town of Greenwood noise ordinance? Copies have been available at the Greenwood Town Office. It is a citizen initiative, and the estimated cost of equipment and training would be $5,000. Unknown any amount for payroll costs, as it is unknown how many complaints the codes enforcement officer will be responding to annually. Could I have a motion on Article 21?
I make a motion.
I can't.
second.
No, I have to have a motion in favor, and then you can defeat it if that's your wish. I just have to have a motion to approve the article. Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Article 21. Now we can discuss it, and I would entertain any discussion at this time. Yes, okay.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. My name is John Quokka. I'm a resident of Greenwood. One of the 5 volunteers on your planning board. I also am the vice chairman. But I want to put a disclosure out there. What I'm about to put out now is not, I am not speaking for the planning board. I am speaking for myself. As an engineer, before I voted on this, I had to, in good conscience, make sure that there was a big support here from Mount Abram. There's a lot going on Facebook about Mount Abram. And that, in good conscience, I did some research to make sure that the town wasn't putting any unnecessary burdens on Mount Abram or any other business for that sake. So, fortunately, I didn't have time to do a Ross Perot on you with charts and pie charts and stuff like that, so you're just going to have to listen to me talk for here for a few minutes. First of all, I've been approached a couple times about this, and everybody's talking about 45 dB, 45 dB, 45 dB. I'm here to tell you 45 dB means nothing. 45 dB is like saying it's hot outside. When you say it's 212 degrees Fahrenheit, then you said something. So typically in sound, there's a capital A that goes on at the end of it, it's very important for this discussion. I know I'm going to give some stuff, and some of you folks are just going to, and I'm probably going to do it to myself. Your eyes are going to roll back in the back of your head, and like, when is he done? It'll get there. So that A means it's A-weighted decibels. It's a measure of sound level that takes into account how the human ear perceives loudness at different frequencies. The ear, again, I could bore you folks with stuff that would definitely put you to sleep. So now we're going to quickly talk about sound attenuation. Sound attenuation is covered by the inverse square law. I had 2 paragraphs here. other people here, I'm not going to go into it. But what that says is, according to the inverse square law, it can be shown that for each doubling of distance from a point source, this is me, point source, the sound pressure level decreases by approximately 6 dB. So I see two of the owners here from Mount Abram. I am not picking on Mount Abram. After I did my analysis, you're going to find out that this, in my opinion, this ordinance does not impact Mount Abram. So everybody was throwing around 45 dBA. That's measured at 3 feet, okay? Now, I see Rick and Sue's okay. I mentioned you by name. Lucy Campbell. You okay with that? Oh, no, it's because it's important for my what I want to share here. So, I found some online. In my old line of work, it was something controversial. We would have two engineers of the same discipline do an analysis, and then we get together, and then make sure like everybody agrees 1 + 1 is 2. And like if somebody came back 1 + 1 is 3, we had to find out why there was such a big disparity. With that said, I used two online calculators. 45 so my swag, okay, I got to give you perspective. If you come out of the side entrance at Loose Boots, and then you go down and you stop at the ramp and you face the solar fields, to your left is the Luthi camp. To the right is now Jeff McAvoy, is it? Okay. My swag is, and I'm sure they've walked it more times than I've had hot meals, that it's if not 1,000 feet or more to the Luthi's camp from Loose Boots. That 45 dBA at the Luthi camp is minus 5.5 dBA, which in a sense, again, apologies, you're not going to hear anything if somebody's talking. Now, I went to the OSHA website to look for tables of sound levels. Here's what and Mount Abram's concern was about live music. So the closest thing I could find, and OSHA linked me to 3M, which is a respectable company that makes PPE ear protection equipment. They listed a disco nightclub measured at 3 feet is 100 dBA. So I cranked that 100 dBA in my two calculators. At 1,000 feet, at the Luthi's house, the measurement is 49.5 dBA. Now, that doesn't take into account, that was like zero attenuation of the structure. Now, the current structure at Mount Abram is because it's made by rub building, and the structure, the fabric, is covered in a PVC fabric. I Googled what I could find on a PVC fabric. Anywhere, depending on the material, attenuates sound from 12 to 15 dB. So let's just say the tent's old, it's thin, it's worn out, it's half that. If I take 6 dB of attenuation, and I subtract that from that 49.5, it is now 43.5 dB. It is below, the ordinance says at nighttime, 45 dBA. So on the main side, so Mount Abram has, in my opinion, well, we can break it down into two things related to this ordinance. So main side, I don't think Mount Abram has, in my opinion, doesn't have a problem. We'll meet this ordinance. Oh, also what I was read about was because of the snowmaking equipment. The best I could find on snowmaking equipment, fortunately the compressors run off of diesel, and diesels just run or just like, to me, just a steady state noise. Again, I refer back to that chart. Diesel engine in the crew cab measures 84 to 89 dBA. I took the larger number and I rounded it up to 90. My little calculator told me at the Luthi's house, 29.2 dBA. And I can tell you this as personal experience, my wife and I had to camp 6 houses from the driveway up Mount Abram. when we would see the lights on the mountain and our windows and doors were closed, we could barely hear the snowmaking, the compressors. So, just going to beat one more thing to death. Eventually, I just want to point something out to you folks to help you understand. A material sound transmission class, STC, rating informs you on how much noise it can effectively block. So, here's most people at your house. 2 sheets of half-inch drywall separated by studs, and typically your interior studs are 2x4s, improves the STC roughly of 33, which may struggle to mute a normal conversation. But here's the important thing. If right now that rub tent was replaced with 2x4s, 2 sheet of half-inch drywall on either side, there's an attenuation value of 33 dB. Add that or subtract that from that 49, we're down to like in the teens dBA. So again, in my opinion, just my opinion, I'm not speaking for the planning board, there's not an issue. Now another thing, I was approached by several people as we were out walking our dog, that the ordinance, I've been told, I can't use my lawnmower, I can't run my emergency generator. And the people that I've talked to, I asked, I said, so where did you get that information? They said Facebook. I said, did you read the ordinance? They said no. And if all you folks have a copy of the proposed ordinance, on page 3, exclusions, noise from domestic power limited to power saws, sanders, grinders, lawn, garden tools, lawnmowers, snow blowers, tractors. So that negates that argument that you can't cut your grass anymore because of this. Well, I wouldn't mind being able to use that as an excuse not to do it. So maybe I should go against this. And then, down at the bottom, the use of generators in emergency situations on a temporary basis. So that negates, that's why I feel comfortable voting for this noise ordinance. Now we'll split Mount Abram in the second part, the west side. I'll assume, I'll take it on that when Mount Abram transitioned west side to a bike park and an outdoor entertainment thing, that it went through the planning board process. And I wasn't on the planning board at that time, but they got planning board approval, and it went through all the wickets from your planning board to approve that. So, and I'm sure during that process, it must have come up that they presented it, they were going to have bands and what have you, and live music. And once that got approved, that, and I know a couple of the owners, I feel, they're ethical, they're successful businessmen, that they would have followed the process, that after they got planning board approval, they went and got building permit for the stage, for that Connex box that they used for storage. And I have no doubt that they did everything that they were supposed to do. And then we get back to that 1,000 feet. One of the closest houses is across the street, well over 1,000 feet away. And what supports that is there's no attenuation, but there's just distance. Going up Howell Hill Road, there's a house right next to it, but they have trees in the way, and trees attenuate sound, so those people don't have an issue. So now I'm going to get to, here's the part where as a planning board member, why I support this ordinance. And a couple of people that I've talked to, well, I think it was like 5 people that approached me. 4 of the 5 people were not aware that Greenwood does not have zoning. What's not zoning? We do not have commercial and residential. Here's why I support this. You could say, here's what can happen. Your home, somebody can open up a commercial business next to you, and you're like, and you don't have this ordinance, you're going to come see, you're going to call the code enforcement officer. So-and-so is making a lot of noise during the day. Code enforcement's going to give you the Alfred E. Newman, well, I have a noise ordinance. And you're going to go, I'm going to take it up a level. You're going to go to Ken. Kim's gonna be very, not code enforcement will be empathetic, but Kim will be empathetic. Love to help you, but we don't have anything on the books, and she's gonna remind you that the town voted down the noise ordinance. Then you're gonna go, I'm gonna go see the select people. Select people, I work with these three individuals, they're gonna be more empathetic than Kim, if that's humanly possible. And they're gonna love to help you, and they're gonna remind you that and why I say that, it could be something as designed as somebody like, oh, Mount Ingram needs a dog kennel business while all the people are skiing. And so you gotta ask yourself, and I'll finish up here real quick. In my own line of work, we use this risk matrix. You have a likelihood of an event and the impact. Now, is it possible that somebody could put a dog kennel next to you and for all during the day you've got 20 basset hounds yelping? It's possible. The likelihood may be low, but the possibility is there. So that's why I'm going to ask you folks to really consider, just remember that there's no zoning. And so I imagine there's several Navy veterans in here. There's a saying in the Navy, pick your rate, pick your fate. And what do I mean by that? So you buy a property and there's an empty lot, but you build your dream home. Somebody can come along after that and put in a noisy commercial business, and there goes your peace and quiet that you've worked and saved all your life for. Now, the flip side of that is, because I had a conversation with a business owner the other day, he has an empty lot next to him. He goes, well, what about me? I said, in my opinion, if somebody builds a home next to your noisy business, shame on them. And it's just like, when you looked at this property, were you not aware that there was this person that had this noisy business? And I don't want to mention it because anyway, but you get my point. It's just like, that's really all I have to say about it. I could go, I don't want to ramble on and on, but like I said, I don't believe, in my opinion, I don't believe this ordinance impacts our local businesses. That's all. Oh, and before I forget, since we're in the Legion Hall, and next weekend's Memorial Day, I want to thank all the veterans in the room, all those folks who go to the DD 214. And remember, next weekend is Memorial Day, and we honor the people who paid the ultimate price defending this great republic of ours. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Thank you, very well said. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Rodney Wicked. We got a paragraph here that says that housing development, and then turns around and talks about putting in a business, and it has two different zoning numbers thrown in there. How can we say we don't have a zone in our town when these can be talked about? No answer?
No, there is. Greenwood does not, I'd have to go.
I think maybe somebody better really check that out, because a long time ago, I talked to, you probably don't know him, but John Gucci. He told me that I couldn't do something on my property because it was considered a business, and that was not zoned as a business area. Now, either John Gucci, God rest his soul, is a liar, or somebody has revamped.
Oh, I can answer that,
Yeah.
okay? Greenwood does not have any zones in town where someone cannot put in a commercial venture. There is a site plan review process, so if a residential place exists, it has to go through the site plan review ordinance, site plan review process in order to put in a commercial, but there is no space. We don't have, like, you can't do that in the village, or you can't do that in such and such a place. There are no zones that are strictly residential or strictly commercial.
That's all what Mr. Gucci told me.
What section of the ordinance are you referring to?
And are you looking at the noise control ordinance or the land use ordinance that we haven't gotten to yet?
There's the land use.
Okay, we're not there yet.
That'll be the next ordinance that we deal with.
Any further questions? Yes, sir.
Kenneth Colburn, comment, and thank you for your research on that. It seems as though possibly we have the cart in front of the horse. We have no enforcement. Follow me on this. State police, no enforcement. County, no enforcement. Just like the fireworks ordinance, they're not gonna come out here. They publicly said it. So unless we have town police, which we do not, or town constable, which we do not, we have no enforcement of this ordinance. Who's gonna go out there with a meter and text us and check all these things? And then, what are they gonna do? Shame on you. There's no enforcement, we're going down a dead-end road, moot point.
I can speak to that. I'm the town's code enforcement officer.
Do you write tickets?
Well, there are enforcement provisions in the codes, but the point I was going to make in my comments is just that. We would have to create a noise police under the code enforcement department, which is going to be very costly, and all these people are going to do is sit and wait for the phone to ring, I don't know what, maybe 10 times a year. And with the projected tax increases, I just cannot see adding additional costs to the town's payroll to try and enforce this ordinance. And there's no point in enacting an ordinance unless you have the mechanism to enforce it. So, I'm not done with my comments. I have a few other thoughts, but when it's my turn, I'll bring that up. But I just want to piggyback you, Ken, and say, we just can't do it.
This one was first, I think. No, you first? Okay.
President Greenwood, my name's Ann. I'm not a public speaker, so bear with me. I do have something to say, and I'd like to give some context to the current social media blitz surrounding the proposed noise, especially since those responsible for the blitz don't know the backstory, why we're here today. Unfortunately, the narrative has shifted toward Mount Abram, and that was not the intent behind the original concern. I have a personal connection to Mount Abram. I learned to ski there in the 60s. I was, skied there when the lodge was there. Everybody knows the lodge. My older brother worked for the ski school and ski patrol. I skied there as a teen with friends. We skied as a family at Mount Abram. I understand the family friendliness and sense of community that Mount Abram provides here. Also, a major employer. Here's some more context. This all began with a very specific and ongoing issue of more than 2 years involving residential generator use. The hope was to find a reasonable solution that would protect the quality of life for those directly impacted. It was never meant to affect local businesses like Mount Abram or other businesses. I attended many selectmen's meetings with other residents of my road over 2 years. It was requested by the select board members, those people right there, that I bring them examples of noise ordinances from other towns. I provided the requested information. Those of us who brought the issue forward did so with the understanding that the examples provided would serve only as a framework to guide the creation of a customized ordinance that would take into account businesses like Mount Abram and others. It was never the intent for the ordinance to be presented as strictly as it has been outlined in this draft. The failure of this draft, I believe, lies with the town officials' inability to rework and customize the ordinance to suit the needs, present and future, of residents of the town. This ordinance was, for the most part, taken word for word from a noise control ordinance from a town without a major business in it. I don't have a law degree I don't read legal documents. I'm not a council member. I don't want to be a council member. This is the first town meeting I've ever attended. But I am a resident of the town who asked for assistance and guidance with an issue from the council members. I believe officials who have taken on a responsibility to represent the citizens of the town in a matter such as this should have been able to distinguish the needs of Greenwood from another town, and if they don't have that ability, then they should seek legal counsel, legal assistance.
Yes, sir.
I have something to add here on this noise ordinance. I live at 92 Sheepskin Bog Road, right next to the problem, okay, that was created. We've been there 40 years, Ann and I. 40 years, blood, sweat, and tears, okay? That woman right there didn't want to come here today. You know why? Because she's very shy. She was a 40-year RN. And if she was taking care of you in the hospital post-op, you were in good hands. You weren't going to die on her watch. Okay? And I'm not going to let this trash come in and bring down the town of Greenwood. Because when we moved there 40 years ago, Bernie Brooks, who was a gentle, kind man, lived in that farmhouse. His mother was there. They had some steer. We thought it was kind of homey. She needed a place to live within traveling distance of the hospital in Norway. She's on call. And to add to that, a lot of times when she was on call, I had to plow the road out to get her out of the driveway so she could make it down into the hospital. So this is something that happened over the years, that slowly the Brooks farm had been taken over by relatives. After Bernard died, I went to work one morning, and people on lawn chairs and fires are going, and camp tents set up, and then all of a sudden, a few weeks later, there's campers moving in, and I got a guy down to the end of my driveway running a camper and a generator. Marched into town with a rooster under his arm, a camper and a generator. Is that what we're going to have in this town? Are we going to allow you? You board members should be ashamed. And Ken, you misled and you mishandled the whole thing. Okay? I'm going to tell it right out like it is. Okay? That woman right there tried. She tried to get you to make some sense of this without it coming to this, where everybody has to take time out of their day, out of a Saturday, which we all want to be somewhere else. Whether it's planting a garden, fishing. I walked down here today. I walked from Row Hill. Went down through past Sheepskin Bog. One generator was running. One little generator was running there. These guys have since, I don't know if what your connection is with them, Kim, but it seems like you're showing favoritism here. And you control, whatever the hell you call this person that is on the payroll that doesn't want to do her job, get rid of her. Because anybody that can't do their job, what's your problem? I don't think I'm disrespectful. I've been disrespectful.
This is not.
I think it's time to move on.
Yeah, why don't you move on, pal? Okay, you want someone running a generator in front of your house? Okay, 200 feet from your house?
Sir, I need to ask you to sit and be quiet.
I've got something to say. I have the right to speak here. Who wants to tell me to sit? Who wants to tell me to sit? Who are you? Are you?
I'm David Goodwin. I live in the city, and it's time for you to start.
I don't think it is, David.
Time for you to start.
I did not come here to shut my mouth and let somebody else run this town.
You've been
Would
running
you two
for
take your
last 10
minutes
minutes.
outside, please?
Everybody's tired of it.
There's a way to do it respectfully.
Take it outside.
Respectfully. Yeah? All right, well anyways, I don't see Tucker Carlson here because I feel that, to be bushwhacked by Channel 13 like I was in my yard Monday afternoon. Who sent Channel 13
to my house.
That's why we're here.
Excuse me?
Squeaky wheel gets you grease, that's why we're here. We had to come to a town
Oh, I'm
meeting
not
to make
gonna-
it public knowledge to know what's going on.
I'm not
You
gonna-
come in here all hot, you did like an idiot.
I don't
Sit
think
here
so.
and talk like a normal person.
I don't think I'm being I think this is, this whole thing started because someone was rude. Somebody fired up the generator, refused to shut it down, whether it bothered somebody or not.
Can somebody help me take this gentleman out, please?
Vern was asking you
Who will be the first?
Possibly.
I think it's time for you to go.
Give him time to speak. He's spoken, now be quiet.
And who are you?
I live just down the street from you.
Top of the road. You live at the top of the road.
The mediator of this meeting has asked you to sit, sir.
I do have a noise problem, but not enough that I'm gonna do something like this to yourself.
Something like this? Something like this? Is it?
Ken, what's the protocol here?
How you discuss?
Charlie, you've spoken long enough. That's enough. You've disrespected people. That's enough.
I don't think it's been disrespectful at all.
Yes.
I've been disrespectful. That woman right there has been disrespectful. Okay? I'm being honest about this situation. Anybody want to be honest? You want the truth? You want the facts? You want the merits of this? Okay?
Let's call it a day. Call it a day.
Good luck to anybody that has this problem in the future. And, you know, the way, if the town of Greenwood is gonna, right now, we got trash moving in.
Oh, yeah,
We got people with junk, parking campers and trash all over the roads, and it looks bad.
Let's be honest.
Carthage, if you listen to TOS, Carthage was a joke, made a joke of it.
Complaining about noise, not trash.
That's a whole different subject.
That is.
Yeah.
You're out of order, sir.
Thank you for letting me speak, Your Majesty.
It's not me. Next question. Yes, sir.
Hi, Travis York, resident of Greenwood. Hard act to follow, but yeah, I'll keep it down. To the gentleman at the end, I didn't catch your name, engineering expert there.
I'm not an
Appreciate your
expert.
input. No, I appreciate your input. There was a lot of information for a lot of people. I think what also needed to be said, and I know, you know, you're probably somebody I'd love to talk to, because our profession is probably cross at some point. But some of the math, some of the numbers you threw out might be misleading to the average person. First of all, most people probably don't have 1,000 feet to work with their properties, number one. Number two, you know, there's other things in there that dictate those decibel levels and that appearance sound level that you were representing. Like, you know, natural standing waves, the fact that that's probably a line of sight math that site is coming up with, so it's not taking into account natural resonance points and things of that nature. But for the average person, and I'm probably talking at 80 decibels right now, if you are standing 6 feet away, pretty close. You know, so I think that the numbers, you know, I'm all about, I think, decent neighbors, knowing your neighbors, talking to your neighbors, figuring stuff out. If you're gonna have a noisy business, it's great. You know, help your neighbor attenuate, right? That's a word you use. That's important, and there's ways to do that. But these, I don't know where these numbers came from, but they're not realistic for the average lot size, especially in town. And I do recognize we don't have zoning per se for commercial as opposed to residential. But once again, I think that before we use a bunch of engineering math and numbers and terminology, we probably ought to present this in a better way, better numbers. I mean, for instance, OSHA requires an 8-hour time-weighted average. Now, that probably doesn't mean much to too many people, but most people work. 90 decibels at the person. And that's extremely noisy. I mean, most of us probably don't even wear hearing aid or are not provided that hearing protection at our businesses because we don't meet those requirements. So these are just some things to think about when we're making ordinances that are going to affect everybody and negatively, ultimately, because 15-minute average is not going to be in anybody's favor. I bet the Peters at night across the street from my swamp, I'm pushing 70. So I just wanted to add that, but I do appreciate the input that the gentleman started off with. I think it's important to think about those things, but we have to think about the whole thing.
Thank you. Mr. Milliak.
Moderator, I would like to propose that we move the question.
Wait, I had some remarks I wanted to make as the code enforcement officer.
I will draw it.
I'm Ann Quokka. I'm the town's new code enforcement officer. I started this job in mid-December. All of this that led up to this ordinance occurred before my time. But I understand what has happened. It's a generator issue. And I sympathize with the noise from a generator. If you had to listen to it 24 hours a day, that would really get on your nerves. However, enforcement of this particular ordinance that has been drafted, as we talked about, creates a lot of enforcement problems. And in order to provide literally night and day, 365-day-a-year service for noise that might happen at any time would be extremely costly. I only work for the town part-time, so I'm certainly not going to be able to do it by myself. There would have to be a staff. So, I think that just isn't practical. So I want to talk about what is practical. And I think since this is a generator-specific issue, that the ordinance should be generator-specific as well. And I agree with you, sir, that there is quite a bit of what we would call off-grid living here in Greenwood. Whether it's by choice or by necessity, people are living in non-traditional housing and using generators, solar, whatever. There are a host of issues that go along with that, including septic and gray water and all sorts of things. And I think I want to work with the town to put together an ordinance that addresses all of those issues in one document that isn't going to have the unintended consequences that this ordinance is creating. So let's look at the whole picture and try to come up with something that resolves all of those issues, not just the generator noise issue. In the meantime, I will handle issues on a case-by-case basis. I think I can mediate between the parties. And once we have something that we can bring to the town that addresses everything, we will do that. But don't think that you're being ignored. I am not going to ignore this issue. It needs to be addressed, but it needs to be addressed in the bigger picture, the whole context. So that's all I have to say, and if you need me, you know where to find me.
Gentleman over there has something to say.
John?
Yes. I've used a sun crusher meter before, back when I was a kid. I was in the car stereos, we went to all the competitions, 8-weighted decibel meter at 45 dB. Reacts different at different frequencies. A low frequency is super easy to get 45 dB. High frequency is very, very difficult. For instance, like a bass drum, loud. Doesn't seem loud, but it does.
Slow dB.
Also, if you're on a lake, humidity affects how sound carries. and dB, the SLP of a meter. And let me see, humidity, temperature, there's so many things that can affect how a sound pressure meter works, that it's unfair to apply it to any, really, because it's just too restrictive. That's it.
Thank you. Yes, Marie? Can't hear you.
We've been on the planning board for years, 13 years selected. Could we just vote this down and have everybody come back with another reading this ordinance?
Is that a motion to end the discussion?
Yes.
It's been moved and seconded to end the discussion and go to the vote. All those in favor of ending the discussion? Thank you. Those opposed? We are going to the vote. The question is, shall the town vote to enact the Town of Greenwood noise ordinance? All those in favor, please indicate by raising your green card. All those opposed? Article 21 has failed. Could we, just to get back to could we let Kim know how much we appreciate her and leave all of Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Article 4. To see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the administrative budget. The Selectmen and Budget Committee recommend a total of $382,400. Could I have a motion, please? Thank you. Second. And moved and seconded. Any question on this? Article 4? Not seeing any then, I'd ask you to vote. All those in favor of Article 4 is read, please indicate. Thank you. Those opposed? Article 4 is approved as presented. Why don't we
And I don't know if your mic's cut off or not, but it's really starting to have a hard time hearing you again.
I'm sorry. All right. We'll give these folks a minute to leave. How's that? Okay. I don't like the taste of the microphone. Very good. Article 5. To see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the codes, planning, assessing budget, the Selectmen and Budget Committee recommend a total of $50,125. Could I have a motion, please? Thank you. It's been moved. Have a second? It's been moved and seconded. Any question on Article 5? Not seeing any, then I'd ask you to vote. All those in favor of Article 5 is read, please indicate. Thank you. Those opposed? Article 5 is approved as presented. Article 6, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the community safety budget. The Selectmen and Budget Committee recommend a total of $16,300. Could I have a motion from you, please? Thank you. Second? It's been moved and seconded. Any question on Article 6?
What is the safety budget? That's $5,000? Just trying to verify what
Sure.
this is.
What is the safety budget?
Safety budget is facility lighting, facility lighting, repeater tower in your fire department radios, ACO wages and supplies, and civil emergency preparedness, the EMA.
Very good. Thank you. Anything further on Article 6? Not seeing anything then, I'd ask you to vote. All those in favor of Article 6 is read and explained, please indicate. Thank you. Those opposed? Article 6 is approved as presented. Article 7, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the general services budget. The Selectmen and Budget Committee recommend a total of $14,132. Could I have your motion, please? Thank you. Do I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. Any question on Article 7? Seeing none, then I'd ask you to vote. All those in favor of Article 7 as read, please indicate. Thank you. Those opposed? Article 7 is now approved as presented. Article 8, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the facility maintenance and repair. The Selectmen and Budget Committee recommend a total of $90,000. Could I have a motion, please? Thank you. Been moved and seconded. Any question on Article 8? Yes?
What would the 90,000 be? What's the plan for the $90,000?
What does the $90,000 do?
It's for our annual maintenance for town hall, our dam, cemeteries, town office, Dunham Park, and town garage and fire stations. There's nothing
Nothing big.
specific. Yes, just odd stuff that comes up.
Where's the increase come from?
That was the cost of mowing the cemeteries.
Thank you. Anything further on Article 8? If not, I'd ask you to vote. All those in favor of Article 8 as read and explained, please indicate. Thank you. Those opposed? Article 8 is approved as presented. Article 9, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and appropriate for facility utilities. The Selectmen and Budget Committee recommend a total of $40,000. Could I have a motion, please? Thank you. Been moved and seconded. Any question on Article 9? Not seeing any then, I'd ask you to vote. All those in favor of Article 9 as read, please indicate. Thank you. Any opposed? Article 9 is approved as presented. Article 10, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and appropriate for park maintenance. The recommendation is $6,500. Could I have a motion from the floor, please? Thank you. Been moved and seconded. Any question on Article 10?
We have an explanation of the increase.
Sure.
The biggest increase there, Destiny, was just the cost of mowing and,
Thank you.
sorry.
No, that's okay, I accept that.
Yes?
I thought the part to do with maintenance, that was part of that, mowing cemeteries and such. So what's the difference between the maintenance and the facility?
Yeah, the cemeteries is under facilities, where the other parks are under park
But you
maintenance.
said Denham Park, that was all, I was just curious.
Yeah, sorry, Dunham Park is up under facility, not under park maintenance. Veteran Park, it's over by the local hub. And the Town Beach, Maggie Ring Park, the boat ramp, and Greenwood Shores Park.
All set? Anything else on Article 10? If not, I'd ask you to vote. All those in favor of Article 10 is read and explained, please indicate. Thank you. Those opposed? Article 10 is now approved as presented. Article 11, to see what sum of money will vote to raise and appropriate for recreation budget. The Selectmen and Budget Committee recommend a total of $2,500. Could I have a motion, please? Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Any question on Article 11? I'm not seeing any then. I'd ask you to vote. All those in favor of Article 11 as read, please indicate. Thank you. Those opposed? Article 11 is approved as presented. Article 12, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the Fire and Rescue Department budget. The recommendation is $161,300. Could I have a motion, please? Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions on Article 12? Not seeing any then, I'd ask you to vote. All those in favor of Article 12 as read, please indicate. Thank you. Any opposed? Article 12 is approved as presented. Article 13, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the G&W transfer station budget. The Selectmen and Budget Committee recommend $125,082. Could I have a motion, please? Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Any question on Article 13?
Do we get an explanation for the increase?
Sure.
I believe most of it was wages, Destiny.
Thank you. Anything else? If not, then I'd ask you to vote. All those in favor of Article 13 as read and explained, please indicate. Thank you. Those opposed? Article 13 is approved as presented. Article 14, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the Highway Department budget. The Selectmen and Budget Committee recommend $679,500. Could I have a motion, please? Okay, got it, one? Got a second? Thank you, all over the place, thank you. Any question on Article 14?
You got an explanation for the increase?
I think so.
The bulk of the increase for that would be to purchase, half of that would be to purchase a truck for the highway department. The 2026 Western Star 47X truck. And the other half would be pulled from surplus, which is Article 19.
Is that something we need? It seems like a really large increase.
It is. Our budget committee and selectmen have worked on a capital improvement plan and working out the vehicles are 10 years. Once they reach 10 years, we trade them in and purchase new.
Anything further on Article 14? Chuck has a question. Hi, Chuck.
Hi, how are you? Just a quick note. One, thank you to the Highway Department. They do a wonderful job in the wintertime plowing our road, and Roe Hill Road is wonderful. But my question is, what are we going to do about the Greenwood Road? I know it has nothing to do with this vote. Since we're all here together, just thought we'd like to hear what's going to happen with Greenwood Road.
Part of the budget that's proposed does have funds for the Greenwood Road. The current budget we're in has funds for the Greenwood Road and the prior year. So we're going to have upwards of $400,000 to put into the Greenwood Road. And the plan is to do around the beach area from Roeville as far as we can towards the Locks Mills.
They're going to try to stop the flooding and washout.
Yeah, and all the potholes.
Okay.
I've got another question.
Yes.
So are we unable to complete routes without the purchase of the new truck?
They'll be retiring a truck and replacing.
Retiring and replacing. It seems like a large increase this year.
Yes, sorry.
On the budget for the trucks, when the budget committee started about 15 years ago, they were waiting and purchasing everything in one lump year. And we were getting bashed and stuff. So we worked with every person to space everything out so we didn't get whacked really hard. And we realized things are going up, but people go to the school budget meetings. That's where our problems are. That's where our money is going.
Thank you, Brian. Anything more on Article 814? Okay.
On the new trucks, how many trucks does the town of Greenwood have for the highway department? It seems like we're buying a truck every year.
5 trucks, David.
So we're replacing them every 10, so shouldn't it be every other year we have to buy a truck rather than every year? Because it seems like we're buying a truck every year. It seems like we're always going on a new truck for the highway department.
We bought a new truck last year, we bought a load, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right. I feel like our roads are a lot more work, so we're just something.
Anything further on Article 14? Yes?
The homeowner, in 10 years, the amount of salt the state of Maine is using is killing vehicles.
Yep, that's right.
And that 10 years is probably not worth a whole lot.
It gets to that point. Yeah. Thank you. Anything else on Article 14? Seeing nothing then, I would ask you to vote. All those in favor of Article 14 as written and discussed, please indicate. Thank you. Those opposed? Article 14 is approved with minor opposition. Article 15, to see what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for minimum maintenance and for liability insurance for the East Twitchell Pond Road. The Selectmen and Budget Committee recommends $7,000. Could I have a motion, please? Thank you. A second? It's been moved and seconded. Thank you. Any question on Article 15?
we get any reimbursement from the state on that?
We do get reimbursement from the state on that.
Full amount?
For the full amount?
Yeah.
All right, good. Thank you. Anything else on Article 15? Seeing nothing then, I'd ask you to vote. All those in favor of Article 15 as read and explained, please indicate. Thank you. Those opposed? Article 15 is approved as presented. Article 16, to see what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for capital improvements to the Greenwood Road. Here we go. Selectmen and Budget Committee recommend a total of $450,000. Could I have a motion, please? Thank you. It's been moved and seconded all over the House. Any questions or discussion on Article 16? Yes, David.
Okay, I asked this the last time we did this section of road. Are we gonna do it the correct way this time so we don't have to do it again in a short amount of time? Are we gonna dig up all the culverts before we do the road and get that done this time?
And are we gonna fix the other road? Because all we do is pave over, it keeps breaking up every 2 years.
Who wants to tackle that, Bob?
Yeah, we talked about that, I prefer I'm in that same mode.
I'd rather give extra money now.
Well, that's why we
and
didn't
get
do
it done
anything.
right.
That's why we didn't do anything last year. Because we wanna accumulate, we need more money in order to do it right. And we've gotta find out how much of the road we can do based on how much money.
Right, so we
We're
do
gonna
a
do it
smaller
right.
section.
We're gonna do it right when we do it. That's the
Okay.
way.
Good, thank you. Anything else on Article 16? Yes?
What people don't understand about that section of the Greenwood Road, from especially Low Hill to Lock Mills, that is a old cordwood road. It was built up with wood. And way back in the 70s, the state maintained that for us. They gave that section of road back to us. So we got stuck. They paved that road, and I believe it was 1977. It looked gorgeous for about 2 years. But the road needs to be, as they stated, they have picked one section of road, they're gonna dig down, straighten it out, and go forward. Yes, it's gonna take years, but that's the only way to fix it.
I agree.
Thank you, Brian. Anything further on Article 16? Yes?
Has the town contemplated capital improvements to include anything like guardrails? I mean, there are some corners there that are pretty scary.
Any chance of guide rails? What's the problem with plowing? Yeah. 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 Yeah, thank you. You can put up signs, but there's no enforcement. Yeah. That's a good thought. Anything further on Article 16? Seeing nothing then, I would ask for your vote. All those in favor of Article 16 as read, please indicate. Thank you. Those opposed? Article 16 is approved as read and explained. Article 17, to see what sum the town will vote to raise and appropriate for abatements. The Selectmen and Budget Committee recommend a total of $2,500. Could I have a motion, please? Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Any question on Article 17? Seeing none then, I'd ask you to vote. All those in favor of Article 17 is read, please indicate. Thank you. Those opposed? Article 17 is approved as presented. Reserve account articles. Article 18, to see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and appropriate for the reserve savings accounts. Selectmen and Budget Committee recommend a total of $214,500. Could I have a motion, please? And it's broken down as follows. Could I have a motion? Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Any question on Article 18? Yes.
On fire department building reserve, how far out are we from getting enough money to build a new station yet?
Well, it depends on which plan we take. The first
go around, what was it, almost 3 million, Ken?
2.9.
That was before tariff.
And what do we have in the account now? I guess should have been
With
with
this
this.
105, we had 400,000. We purchased the land, and we're now trying to seek other options that are less than 2.9.
Good. Anything further? Yes, Chief.
David, to further answer your question, at the beginning of our discussions with the building committee, selectmen, fire department members as well, we were tasked with to design a building that would be still good in 20 years, size-wise, for what our needs may be in 20 years from now. That came in at 2.9 million. We regrouped and renegotiated so that depending on what kind of funding we may be able to get from grants as well, what's available to us, we are in the process of redesigning it at a smaller scale. Maybe it won't be a 20-year projected planned growth, but it may still work, and we still have the 219 station that's under OSHA, Waterfall I, and BLS to get rid of it as soon as possible.
Right, and that's my question. How long are we gonna be waited to get this new fire station underway if we only raised 105,000?
We're still kicking the can down the road, and they're still letting us. One day that will stop.
Okay.
They know we're making progress as far as the purchasing of the land, Kim mentioned also, and designing of the building and gathering of funds. So they do realize that we're trying, and they're allowing us to slowly proceed. At what point will that stop? I do not know.
Thank you.
Good, thanks. Anything further on Article 18? Not seeing anything, I'd ask for your vote. All those in favor of Article 18 as read and explained, please indicate. Thank you. Those opposed? Article 18 is now approved as presented. Article 19, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $150,000 from the Highway Department Equipment Reserve account to purchase a 2026 Western Star 47X truck. It's recommended by the Selectmen and Budget Committee, and the current balance in that account is $256,540.53. Could I have a motion, please? Thank you. Second? Been moved and seconded. Any question on Article 19? Yes.
How does that tie into the highway's budget of $679,500?
That was
I know
it.
that bond I would appropriate, as mentioned, for the new truck, so what's that tie into? How does it work with that Article 19?
150,000 we just voted on as part of Article 14, and then we'll be adding the 150,000 from the reserve account, if you so approve.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further on Article 19? If not, I'd ask you to vote. All those in favor of Article 19 as read and explained, please indicate. Thank you. Those opposed? Article 19 is approved as presented. Revenue budget article. Article 20. To see what sum of money the town will vote to raise and appropriate from the non-property tax revenue budget for the articles approved in Articles 5 through Article 19 inclusive, and the remainder to be raised by property taxation. This is recommended, and the $516,871 to be appropriated from non-property revenue budget, and the remainder shall be raised from property taxation. Could I have a motion, please? Thank you. Could I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. Any question on Article 20? Not seeing any then, I'd call for your vote. All those in favor of Article 20 as read, please indicate. Thank you. Those opposed? Article 20 is approved as presented. We have dealt with Article 21. We'll move on to Article 22. Shall the town vote to enact the proposed amendments to the Town of Greenwood Land Use Ordinance, Section 4, Permit A, setbacks. Amendments in the red lettering below. This is a citizen initiative. I'm assuming you don't need me to read that whole paragraph, but I will if you like. If not, I'd entertain a motion on Article 22.
I'll move
Thank you. Do you have a second? Yes, I have seconds all over the house. It's been moved and seconded to approve Article 22. Who would like to begin the discussion? Michael.
Question regarding, so this is regarding building new structures from property lines. Based on what I'm reading, didn't it used to be 20 and then they dropped to 10 and I was trying to put it back to 25 again?
Correct.
So what's the advantage to moving it back? As we've all talked about, properties are small, you want to build some sort of structure, and you don't have so much space, how are you going to do that if you're hooked up to 25 feet again? I mean, there's a reason we brought down 10 from 20, so why are we going back?
The citizen that wanted this is not here today, for obvious reasons, but they just had a noisy neighbor and would like to have it 25 feet, and they're worried that the person is also going to become a commercial business there, and we've not had any specific setback for commercial entities.
I feel like we're making a big changes for the entire town for onesie twosies. It doesn't seem to make sense to the overall population of the town.
Thank you. Yes.
Now, I'd like to echo Mr. Liffey's comment earlier about zoning. Again, this kind of gets into that. The language in this is a little wonky at best. It's, I'm confused about residential structure and then commercial structure, and then there's also the question, I don't think this is well written, because if we started as a residential and then we change that to a commercial after, I just don't see how this is written very well. Probably ought to be sent back to the drawing board.
Thank you. Anything further on Article 22? If not, then, are you ready for the vote? There we go. Hi.
Andrew Baker. Under here, the changes also on section.
Can't hear you.
On section 7, part B, that's not, I don't think this is going to pass anymore, but that didn't meet the changes.
Did anybody hear him?
Okay.
You can come use the mic if you want.
The proposed changes here, on section 7, part B, it's the same wording but hasn't been changed. So even if we were to agree to this, it would disagree with itself pretty hard under setback. Yeah.
We can't understand the thing you're saying.
Right. Sorry.
Okay.
Let me try not to be quiet.
Go to the mic.
On the mic, Rick?
On part B, section 7, on setback, has the 10-foot rule in there and hasn't been changed. So if we were to pass this ordinance itself would disagree with itself. You guys hear me?
Good point. Yeah, thank you. Anything further? Yes, sir. Can everybody hear him? No. No, we can't hear you.
Share the mic.
Sorry, my wife says I talk too loud. If you have a 40,000 square foot minimum lot size, and you have 25-foot setbacks, so let's say that the 40,000 is 100 by 400. You have a 25-foot setback, all of a sudden, your usable land is only 50 feet wide instead of 100. And then you add 25 feet at the back, not even including the setback from the front, which I really don't understand how you get there, but not even including that, you can only use 46% of your land. Doesn't make sense to me.
Just one point, in section 7, section 7 400-foot lot under the 40,000 square foot rule, because all lots shall be able to accommodate a circle having a diameter of 150 feet. So just,
Is that on new lots or existing lots?
it's, no building shall be constructed upon or manufactured housing moved to a lot with an area of less than 40,000 square feet. All lots shall be able to accommodate a circle having a diameter of 150 square feet.
Okay.
Again, not for existing structures.
Yes.
Amy, I don't need that required.
Neither do I.
I don't need the
It's not for
150
existing
cross.
structures. Yeah. I don't,
My lot's
I own a
only
house
50
that's
wide.
on a tenth of an acre, so, I mean,
Right.
not the one I live in, but, yeah. No, this applies to new construction.
It's still a lot, taking away a lot of square footage.
Anything further? If not, then I would ask you to vote. All those in favor of Article 22 as read and discussed, please indicate by raising your hand. All those opposed? Article 22 has been soundly defeated. Excuse me. Article 23. See if the town will vote. What? Yes. Sorry about that, sir.
As these are mostly boilerplate from 23 to 32, if there is no article in there that is contentious that wishes to be discussed, I would move that all of the articles be accepted as written.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve, to vote on Articles 23 through 32 inclusive, and in one vote. You have said you're okay with that. If there's any one of them you would like to discuss, we can do that before you vote. So if there is, let me know. If you're all set with the way they are written, as boilerplate articles, basically, I'd ask you to vote. All those in favor of Articles 23 through 32 inclusively, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Articles 23 to 32 are approved as presented. Thank you all very much. Okay, wait. Amy's got
I'm never done talking. Okay. I just wanted to say something. Kim always has a birthday right around town meeting time. And I think this year, especially, she deserves to have us all sing to her because she's been going through hell over there. So, can we sing to Kim? Her birthday's on Monday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kim. Happy birthday to you.